Nerf Sender review. Let's send this bad boy. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have something super awesome and super special to show you guys. That is the newest Pro Blaster from Nerf, the Nerf Sender. This thing is sweet, you guys. I am so excited that Nerf is doing more Pro Blasters. This is what Nerf needs to be doing, and I'm glad they're stepping up their game, because I'll be honest, they've been slacking a little bit lately. But super excited for this offering. Let's check this baby out. Obviously, the Nerf Sender is a pretty sweet little package. We're supposed to get 30 darts in the package. It's supposed to shoot up to 150 FPS. We're shooting brand new half-length darts. Super cool. Ages 14 and up. Includes iPro, which is awesome because you need iPro if you're slinging this at your friends. So you get all the information you need to know on the back of the box. We also get a look at the Nerf Torrent, which is the newest spring-powered Pro Blaster. Pretty awesome. Look at a mag refill pack and more darts. Pretty sweet. Let's crack this baby open. All right, you guys, we are ready to send it. In the package, you receive your Sender Blaster. You receive a half-length angled magazine. You receive 30 half-length Pro Nerf darts, some iPro with some instructions. All right, so let's go ahead and go over the features of the Nerf Sender. We have not a Picatinny rail on top. I apologize. This is exactly the same as Rival. So Rival attachments would fit up there. I know you can kind of finagle some Nerf attachments, but this rail is more for looks anyways. I'm not really sure why you would need an optic on this exact blaster, but unfortunately, it is not Picatinny rail, which is a little disappointing. Maybe in the future, with some feedback, they'll switch to Picatinny, but we will see. There is no in-strike attachment on front. It's just flat, very short, which is good for performance, so that's awesome. We have our trigger and rev trigger up in front here. So it is a bullpup blaster. Very compact, like I've been saying, pretty darn cool. Right here is our trigger lock, and mine came locked, so you will need to unlock that to be able to use your blaster. You will also need to install 8 AA batteries. Yes, 8 AA batteries. This does not come with a rechargeable battery pack, which kept the price low-ish, I guess. 50 bucks, pretty good for Nerf standards, but definitely a little bit above what you get with Dart Zone, as they're selling a blaster that's full auto for 50 bucks and comes with a rechargeable battery pack right now. So we may take a look at that guy in the future, but nevertheless, this does require out of the box 8 AA batteries. Magazine inserts in the back here. We do have a mag release, and yes, it is Talon compatible. Definitely a plus there. Shocking that Nerf did that, but that is awesome. Up here we have our jam door, so if you do encounter any sort of issue feeding into your flywheels, there is a place there you could possibly get it out, but looking in there, I'm not sure that it's very useful, to be honest. Honestly, if this thing functions the way it should, you shouldn't really have jams too much. Not sure why they needed that, because it doesn't look super accessible there, but it's there. Also, it has a little spot here that says eyewear required. You do have a tiny little stock back here, which is interesting, but it does remove, and boom, you guys can put a in-strike stock on the back of there. So it's interesting, they're still keeping the in-strike stock attachment points for the Pro line, so that's pretty cool. So you could put a short stock on there if you want to, and that actually could be useful. So pretty cool. I kind of like it though, really compact. This seems like something you want to use in really close quarters. It's up to the user though, and it's really cool that they included that. There's also a hole in it here, so you could possibly use that as a sling point. You could also probably use underneath the Picatinny rail, not Picatinny rail, Rival rail up there as a sling point. This may be a little suspect because this does just pull right off, so I'm not sure I would necessarily sling my blaster from that point. This may be a better option. Nevertheless, I think that covers pretty much everything with the features of the blaster. And one thing I will note, this mag well is a little tight, which is, you know, personal preference on whether you like that or not. It's not really a quick load situation. You do have to really pull out your magazine and insert the magazine to fully seat it. So this magazine has a cool little hole down here. So you could probably put some sort of cord on there to help you pull it out of your mag holster. I don't know if they're gonna have holders for these mags. That'd be pretty cool. They could do so much if they wanted to, but obviously these are the same as talons, so anything that fits your angled talons should fit these in theory. The darts are also pretty awesome. They're definitely a unique tip on there. They're definitely smaller than the foam. I'm curious why they didn't have these out with the last Pro Blaster with the Strife Pro X, but this is a new dart design for Pro, and that is pretty cool. That should work in any spring-powered or flywheel-powered blaster. Nevertheless, we will be having to test these darts in other blasters to see how they perform compared to other half-length darts in the hobby. This blaster is semi-auto. It does require you to rev the rev trigger here before pulling the main trigger to fire a dart, so just make sure you do that. This actually does have a lock though, so you cannot pull that trigger unless you pull the rev trigger. Let's go ahead and rev it up and see what it sounds like. So that thing is pretty loud. We'll see how balanced the flywheels are, but definitely with 8 AA batteries, that thing is gonna roar. It does take a little bit of time to rev up, so we are definitely gonna change this out to a LiPo soon enough. We'll probably do a full mod guide on this guy, so let me know you wanna see that in the comment section below, and I will definitely try to do that at some point in the near future. This does require you to unscrew 2 batteries to get this off and put in your 8 AA's, so just know that there is no thumb screws, but I'm sure we can swap those out for thumb screws in the mod guide. All right, let's go ahead and send this bad boy. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put the sender over the chronograph. We're gonna start out with their darts, and then we're gonna try some Worker Gen 3 darts, normal weighted Worker Gen 3s. These are white tip just because they glow in the dark, but they're the same as the orange tip ones. So that'll be interesting to put to the test. We'll do 15 of theirs and 15 of the Workers and see how they compare. 150, 145, 145, 155, 153, 154, 152, 150, 140, 148, 153, 151, 159, 152, 149. That thing's gonna need an aftermarket cage because that puppy is loud. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Hopefully you could see those numbers. I'm not sure if you could hear them or not because these things, they're not quiet. So that's pretty impressive. Nerf definitely didn't lie to us on those FPS estimates. So let's go ahead and see what the worker darts can do. Here we go. 124, 126, 122, 124, 135, 128, 119, 130, 114, 122, 122, or air, 129, 125, 124, 125, and we're out. I will say this doesn't seem super accurate, as I didn't hit the target, the catch target there too many times. But we did get quite a bit lower FPS with the Worker Gen 3s. That tells me that their darts are probably lighter than 1 gram. I'm not sure. We will maybe put those on the scale and find out. All right, I will say this scale isn't the best, but it's what I got. So grams, 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram. Nerf darts, 1 gram, 3 gram, 3 gram, I'm not sure, 2 gram, 3 gram. Let's put 5 of them on there and just see what it says. 5 grams, 5 grams. So I would say they're very close. This one's almost going to 6, but I know these are 1 gram darts. So let's go ahead and check units, pounds. Let's see what 5 of these are. 0.0, between 111 and 113, so probably about 12. It's just not the most accurate scale, but they're pretty darn close to the same weight. If anything, these might be slightly lighter. I'm not sure. Hopefully someone else with a better scale than mine will be able to tell that for sure. I'm sure there'll be a lot more testing on these darts, but I honestly think it may have to do with the dart tips themselves interacting with the flywheels that give us a little more FPS than just lighter weight. But nevertheless, they don't seem to be too much lighter, if lighter at all, than 1 gram. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some shots over the range to see how the darts compare in terms of range. We're gonna alternate between each one, and I'm gonna shoot them angled, and we'll just see what kind of ranges we can get with this thing. I will say this thing does not seem very accurate. Not sure the reasons of that. The flywheels are pretty similar to what we use these days. They're high crush and concave, so pretty awesome. They have taken a lot from the hobby. I mean, that makes sense considering we have people from our hobby now embedded in Hasbro headquarters. That's pretty cool, I think. But yeah, that is not the most accurate blaster I've ever seen. Ranges look pretty good though, so let's check them out. Ranges are all over the place, especially with the worker darts. I mean, I've not seen a bigger spread of darts with a Pro blaster that I've tested, to be honest, both in length and in distance. That doesn't just go for one type of dart, it goes for both types. I will say though, the Nerf darts seem to be more consistent. So they're definitely more tuned for this blaster than the worker darts. I'm sure Nerf meant to do that on purpose, and that's good because they should have learned from what other people have done with their darts and improved on their design. So I think they've done that, at least from what I can tell with the flywheel blaster. But we'll go ahead and check out these ranges. I do have a rangefinder and we'll see what we're doing. First one is right here, and that is by far the shortest. I think that was kind of a misfire, or not misfire, but just not an average shot. So we'll go ahead and for time's sake, we'll just take one from where the middle is. But there's a few worker darts in here that were shorter, but then there were also some worker darts that were the longest. So it's kind of interesting, but you can see a lot of the Nerf darts in this range here. So we will take a reading right here and see what we get. That says 47 yards. So multiply that by 3 and that's how many feet it is. So just under 150 feet, not bad. Like 141, I think, or something like that. We will see if we can find some of the longest darts. There's one right there. So we almost made it to the road, which is pretty darn impressive. I think there's another one. Yep, there's another one right here. Hey, so why not? We'll take a reading from about where the longest ones are. See what we get there. 52 yards. So yeah, that's about, almost 160 feet. Pretty darn good. Let's go back to the couch and I'll give you my final thoughts on the blaster and some more of the details. All right, you guys, so I think the Nerf Sender is a pretty awesome little blaster. For 50 bucks, I think it's well worth a purchase, but to get the best performance out of this blaster, I think it's gonna require a little modding, which honestly I think is a good thing because that's what I enjoy about the hobby the most is taking a blaster that is good but not amazing and making it that way. So I think there's so much we can do with this small package. Obviously, it's similar kind of to a strife, what you can do with a strife. And if people, which I'm sure they will in the hobby, create, new cages for this, obviously we can switch this out to a lipo. It already has a pretty big area here, so we should be able to fit a pretty good size lipo there. We can rewire it, put better switches in. I'm not sure what is in here currently, but we will find out soon enough. But yeah, I think this is a pretty sweet little package. I think it will be very suitable to painting. The shell is so smooth and sleek. Really like the look of this. Very different than other pro blasters we've seen come out from other companies. Very sci-fi. So I think that's an awesome thing. Not going for a super tactical look, making it different. I think that's great, and I think Hasbro did a pretty good job of designing these blasters. Looking forward to the Torrent and seeing how that one performs also. I do think Nerf did a nice job designing their darts. They look like good quality darts. They're a little different, and they may be a little bit better, at least for flywheelers. We'll see how they do in springers at some point, but this is an interesting thing, and I think something worth checking into and looking and doing more research on, because I think these darts are pretty sweet. I will say the biggest drawbacks of this blaster are definitely using 8 AA batteries, but with a little mod, that can be changed pretty easily. But if you aren't somebody that mods blasters, this may not be as good an option, especially if you compare it to like the Strife X. But as far as I know, we aren't going to be able to get the Strife X anymore. This is way cheaper than the Strife X, so you kind of have to weigh the pros and minuses. But obviously there's other blasters out there that are pro capable and don't require 8 AA batteries. Also, I will say it is extremely loud. It is the loudest pro blaster I can think of. It is probably not super balanced, and that's why it's so loud. But I think the flywheels, from what I can tell inside, look pretty good. So maybe we can keep those flywheels and just design a new cage for it. But I do think if we put this on lipo, that's not going to get any better. So yeah, that is a concern of mine, but I think it's an easy fix considering what we're capable of here in this hobby. Magazines are awesome. I really like these. I actually think I like these better than worker talons. I did put 16 darts in it, and it seemed to feed just fine with 16. It is a 15 dart magazine. We'll see how they work in other angled talon setups, but I think if you haven't invested in worker talons, I think this is definitely something to look into. We'll see how much they cost, but yeah, I'm liking this so far. I think it's awesome that they gave us a stock attachment point on this blaster, and also gave us a little cap to cover it and make it super compact and a short stock, because I do think people will like this compact design. It is usable this way if you really like to tuck things in tight, but if you want a little more length, you have that option too, and I definitely think that is sweet. All in all, I think if we can get the accuracy dialed in a little bit better with a cage, this thing will be much more usable. But it's a flywheel blaster, so depending on how you play, since this is kind of a CQB thing, you're probably going to be in closer range, so accuracy isn't quite as important as it is from further away. I would like to see that accuracy a little bit better, so hopefully with a cage redesigned, we can get that a little bit more dialed in. I'm definitely excited to mod this thing to improve it, because it's deserving. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of the Sender. If you enjoyed this, please smash that like button. It really helps out the algorithm. Definitely leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this blaster, what I should do with it, if I should give it a paint job, if I should do a mod guide. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Also, make sure you're subscribed. Ring the bell for notifications so you're alerted to when I post a video. And as always, guys, peace out.